SRBRadio.com.
We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Birmingham's the team, down at St Andrews. We are all supporters of our team. We chant the Super Blues, ringing all around. Now all you blue boys know what we mean. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we
A Friday night live on Sky saw Blues night, going up against organised and up for its side. Gary's old stomping ground yielded nothing at all, and once again the social networks go into meltdown as far too many people levelled criticism at the gaffer and the team for what really was an inept display. Constructive criticism is fine by me, but some of the foul language written by individuals who simply think the league is ours is completely out of order and not required. If we see any posts on the Tilton Talk page with such language, they will be deleted along with the author. Now, let's get a grip and once again take a reality check as that is required. We are a team still made up of low knees and bargains. We've just had a takeover that we've all yearned for 5 years. Our new owners have just completed their first week in charge. Not a lot can or will start to change until the rebuilding process begins in January. Be grateful we are where we are in the league, as this process is not going to be immediate. This is the week where we have to gel, come together as one voice and absolutely get behind our team in anticipation for Sunday. Yes, it's the big one. It's going to be noisy, and if you have any inclination to misbehave, stay away. Message is simple, you're not wanted. Now is the time, and hopefully we can put the dire display from Friday behind us and get stuck in on the pitch and make as much noise as your vocal cords will cope with, but do it from the stands. This is the one we've waited for. This is why they got relegated. The second city derby once again takes centre stage. Don't forget, it'll be beamed around the world. Very proud to have two special guests in the studio tonight as the Tilton Talk Show grows weekly and goes from strength to strength, with about 17,500 people listening, viewing last week on the live streams, podcasts and recordings around the world. This is the only show on the planet dedicated to all things Birmingham City, so once again strap yourselves in and get ready for the ride as we embark on another Monday night's Tilton Talk Show. Just another ding-dong derby in the weekly life Blue Note.
Now, what you want me to do now is to play that.
No.
That's good.
That's
because he dropped off.
That's not. No, I didn't want that one till the end. We did discuss this earlier, Mr. Brown.
know.
The man on buttons does this every week, doesn't he, Chris? No. Welcome to Monday night's Tilton Talk Show with me, Chris Pugh, and Chris Brown. Hello, Mr. Brown.
Good evening.
And hello, Mr. Pugh. Good evening. Two very special guests in the studio tonight with Paul-Devlin and Mr. Birmingham himself, Mike Wiseman.
Oh, hello there.
Good evening, gentlemen. Right, okay, first off, we'll start, as always, with the start of every Tilton Talk Show. We pay tributes to those we have lost, be it players, staff or supporters. This week we're saddened to hear the death of former Blues goalkeeper Gary Sprake. Gary only appeared for Blues 16 times between 1973 and 1975 and made 37 international appearances for Wales. He was, of course, mostly known for his career at Leeds United, where he made 381 appearances before his transfer to Blues. As always, our thoughts and respects are paid to Gary's family and friends at this difficult time. Sad news once again. We have to report it almost weekly, don't we? Right, heading on to the show tonight then. Apologies to the Blues Collective for not getting around to their request last week, but a complete internet outage in Chris's street in the last 20 minutes of the show prevented us from doing that live, so we'll do it now at the top of the show. There will be bookie collection organised by the Collective around St Andrews for a little 7-year-old lad who was a Villa fan who sadly lost his life to cancer a couple of weeks ago. Please dig deep and be generous. We know you always are in times like this. The Collective have already raised in excess of £450, and irrespective of colours or the occasion, we Birmingham City fans will show compassion not only for our sincerest condolences, but also hopefully make a donation on Sunday. And also this Friday in the Legends Lounge, the Blues Collective presents an evening with Tom Ross from 6:30. Proceeds from this event will go to the Jack Edwards Fund. I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories and laughs. Get along and support this evening with Tom and the Collective. He's a very special man indeed. And oh, the game's gone. Right. Good evening, Mr. Devlin. Nice to see you back in the studio again.
Evening.
How have you been since last we crossed paths?
Good, very good, thanks.
Marvellous, marvellous. Our audience has increased like about 300-fold since then. So we're averaging around about 17,500 hits, listens, and a week now. So it's getting bigger than that Villa-centric station up the road. To be perfectly honest with you, so we keep plugging away at it. We keep plugging away at it. The only dedicated Birmingham City show on the planet. Mr. Pugh, how's your week been?
Oh, I don't know which mic to use.
Come on, come over here. Let's squeeze in.
I thought she says I need to go to the loo.
Not too bad, thank you. Yeah.
Marvellous, marvellous. Have you had fun this week?
Lots of.
Chris is known as Mr. Fun within our circles because he never has fun. He doesn't like fun. Anything to do with is funny.
Outlawed.
We all have nicknames. Chris is Mr. Nivea because he uses the product on his face on a constant basis.
You can tell.
And
looks so good now.
And mine is Mr. Floor due to the inebriated states I get in on the away day coaches and generally end up lying down in the middle aisle. Don't care. We have fun. Mike Wiseman, also great to see you. Thanks ever so much for coming on and giving your time up for the TiltonTalk show tonight. We do this every single Monday for it's their 5th season, and it's just gone from strength to strength. As I say, it's brilliant what the whole team have achieved, and it's not just a person, a single person. It's not just us 3 people here. It's also like the wives and the girlfriends and the backgrounds and the people at home. And my other half, for instance, she does a double shift today, so that I can spend most of Monday off and do my own work. So send her out, all for the cause. Yep. She was a Stoke fan, but I'm changing her slightly.
Okay.
I'm changing her week by week. She's changing. She'll get there, won't she, Chris?
I'm sure she will.
With a little bit of fun. Right, Devs, what are you up to lately?
Just still doing the kids coaching.
Cool.
Go all throughout the Midlands and up as far as Chester, coaching kids from 4 to 14.
Yeah.
Recently this season started a new role as one of the 2 club ambassadors along with Ian Clarkson for Blues.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So what does the job entail? Is it a paid position?
Yeah,
cool.
It's fantastic.
Marvellous.
I come down basically, get to watch the game and interview another ex-player and talk about football, so it's a dream job really. So
some people have all the look.
I just get a bit jealous sometimes when I see the lads warming up. I wish I was getting the boots on rather than picking a microphone up. But yeah, I
bet you'll get the boots on Friday, won't you?
Listen, I was saying to someone today, I'm getting that buzz already. I remember the season we got promoted, the week leading up to the game. You start getting a bit nervous. I'm actually feeling a bit nervous myself, and I'm not playing. So I'm sure this week.
Is this for Sunday?
Yeah, for Sunday.
My belly's been upside down for a month.
Yeah.
And I've started singing though this week.
Yeah.
It's what I do is when I'm at work or whatever, if I'm doing something at home, I start singing. Usually I just hum away to myself.
Yeah.
In a week of a big one, it's just blues songs constantly. Love it. I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait. Can't wait. I take it you'll both be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And
I'd just like to add in as well for me, we're delighted to have Paul on board as an ambassador.
He's a nice guy.
But he's a local lad, a great player for us, and we're very thrilled he accepted the post. Thank you, Paul.
I used to shout his name when he had hair.
You must have a good memory then, let me tell you.
Right, okay, next thing we're going to do is been asked by Tracy Hemmings to read out kind of a mini statement thing. She sent me a message today. Tracy's a lovely lady, does an awful lot for charity, and she also quite often looks after Scarf Lady as well when she's in and around St Andrews. I saw Carol last week outside could we not arrange a taxi or something for her to go home? Oh, bless her. We love her. She's been in and she's the most lovely lady.
We had a ladies match recently as well.
Yes, I was there that one. I was
she
there
really
that one.
enjoyed herself.
And Tracy said, "Hi Nick, thanks for giving us a mention tonight. We are Birmingham Dream Flight for our area. We take 15 sick children every October to Florida on their own on a Boeing 747. The upstairs of the plane is like a hospital, and beds and treatment are available during the flight. They all stay on holiday in Orlando. Lots of groups from around the country go to meet up at a hotel in Heathrow the night before. The parents then leave, the kids have a party, then go to bed to fly out the next day. They don't go through the airport. They are taken to British Airways 747 by the Queen's Guards. How about that?
Brilliant.
How
Brilliant.
about that? I almost blarted when I read that bit of it. One group at a time. There's a doctor, 2 nurses, a physio and a night nurse with each group and a carer looking after 2 children. All children are put forward from their hospital as all disabled and poorly, even terminal, and then 15 are chosen. My son Brad went in 2012 and Bradley's been in. So we wanted to say thank you and raised £7,500, passed it over to the main Dream Flight, who in turn came and asked us to be the Birmingham branch as no one fundraises from this area. It's their 30th anniversary this year and the kids fly home tomorrow. New York City Police raised loads, and when the plane lands, they stop all the traffic on the freeway, and all the kids are escorted via 15 yellow buses to the hotel. They go to every single park at no cost to parents, so parents get respite too. We have currently raised, ready for this, £16,748 to date. And to start this year off all over again on Saturday, I'm just hoping we can hit 20,000 this year. It would be amazing. Sorry for the long message, but I've tried to condense. Oh yes, a film crew goes along every January, so that every January the kids, doctors and the carers all meet back up and watch the film with families, and then they're given a copy to keep. The sight is amazing when they film from a helicopter and you see those 15 buses in a line with police on bikes, each one laughing and smiling at the kids. So you never ever know when you may need a charity. We never dreamt that our son would be poorly, and we do it because we're still grateful for Brad's experience and want other kids from around here to have the same. Try getting insurance to fly there with a poorly child. Whilst kids are there, if they're poorly, then they fly the parents over and have a contract with Orlando Children's Hospital to treat the children free of charge. How tremendous is that? So I wrote back to Tracy and asked her if there's a Just Giving page. No, because it would go straight to Dreamflight, whereas we have Dreamflight bank account, so we get to see the amount we have raised. Otherwise, they wouldn't know where it come from. We keep accounts each year and send bank statements. Just done it today, so we start again for next year on Saturday. If anybody wants to donate or buy a raffle ticket, we've been given a break in Blackpool Seaview from the Waldorf Hotel on the seafront, Good Friday, Saturday and Easter Sunday. Or you can eat breakfast too. You can do it through PayPal, tracyhemming@hotmail.com, and if it's just a donation it's fine, but if it's for the raffle tickets, ask them to tell me and I can take their strips out. Thanks again. Our total currently £16,748.76 to date. Absolutely wonderful work that gets done out there with quite often unnoticed, and to pick 15 serious and or terminally ill children up and take them to Orlando is one hell of a feat. Now I've got 4 kids and I took my kids to Orlando a few times and I know just how hard work it was, but to do that for those is just incredible.
What a thrill for them.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Can I just catch up on a few? Because
of course.
We've missed tons. No, I've just been too busy, sorry. Dean Lomas says, great to see Mike and Paul on the show. Mocker Groves, are we going to hear from our new owners soon? I don't know. Tim Andrews said, evening boys, good to see Mike on the show.
Evening, Tim.
And Ray Hobber, and good evening to Ray, good evening to Mark, good evening to Adrian, good evening to George. Sorry about the few of those I've missed.
We'll kind of carry on with the format of the show that we normally do, because we have a few things that we have to catch up on, and then we'll get stuck into Chris for Blues Ladies this week. Some good news for the Blues goalkeeper, I hear.
Yeah, Sophie Bagley has been called up into the full England squad for a camping. They're currently in Madrid at the moment.
Yes,
I think they're playing Spain tomorrow. Obviously, there's been a few dropouts, which is why she's been included. But even so,
no, to get a call up,
brilliant recognition for her.
Absolutely, yeah.
Chloe Peplow and Charlie Wellings and Sean Johnson were all part of England under-19 squad that took part in a tournament. It's like a warm-up for next year's Euros in Northern Ireland, and they played United States, Northern Ireland and France, and won all 3 games over the last week.
Incredible.
Charlie Wellings scored 2 against Northern Ireland and an absolute screamer against USA as well. So that was a good week for them as well.
And USA are no mean feat either, are they?
No, nor France, especially at underage level.
Yep.
They've both got very good underage records at international level. So it bodes well, and it's more good international recognition for Blues. Man City away this weekend come in the league, and then Sunderland away the week after, and that's
the end of the season. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thanks for that, buddy. Got to say good luck to Georgina Mosley. We understand she's just going through a little bit of surgery at the moment. That's help others, Harry's mum. So good luck to Georgina in whatever you're going through. Obviously our thoughts are with you at the moment. Super 6, do we want to talk about this week, or should we just move straight on?
Sorry.
We'll move straight on. That means none of us have done any good on it.
I was top scorer again, but don't worry about it.
Do you play Super 6, Paul?
I don't know.
You ought to. You ought to join the Tilton Talk League, and yourself, Mike, and play Super 6. 6 predictions a week. It's you got to, if you get the score right, you get 5 points.
Right.
If you get the result right, you get 2 points. And if you don't, you get nothing. And we have a league. Table.
So who's the current top Tilton Talk presenter?
I don't even want to discuss. We said we weren't going to discuss it, Mr. Brown. We're not going to discuss it. We're not. Sometimes
I think it might be me, actually.
It probably is. And My sister's thrashing me. I can't. I have a 20 quid bet on every year with her because my brother's wife died of cancer a few years ago, so we took that into the fund. So, and I lost it last year. Looks like I'm going to lose it again this year. Not that I care about the 20 quid, but it's just them bragging rights, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
the bragging rights, Paul, and you know all about them,
don't
you, mate?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Super 6. Right. Burton on Friday night. Yes, it was an awful performance. The first 15 minutes, as we said just beforehand, Paul, were bright, and we looked quite sharp and on it. And then from then it just descended into chaos.
Yeah, it was a strange game. Like I said, we started off brilliant, and I thought, we're up for it tonight. And then I felt once the Burton wingers got into it, Lloyd Dyer and Aiken, the other side. Yeah, I mean, what those two have got is bags of pace. Once I felt they got into it, we sort of took a couple of steps backwards, and we never really got on the front foot again. Then, and to be honest, Burton scored two, but they missed two really good chances as well.
The second one was completely offside.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't see. We've seen after. It was a poor performance. There's no skirting around the fact, and Gary and the players will know that.
What were your thoughts, mate?
I'm just very disappointed. It's funny because we played a pre-season friendly there, and it was a similar type of game there, where they just seemed to outfight us and generally outplay us. And I agree about the second goal. I don't know that we can begrudge them the victory.
I think you can do that. I mean, swings and roundabouts.
The only one I remember really was Michael Morrison's header, wasn't it?
I think that was the only really good chance we had in the 90 minutes,
wasn't it? And we just never got going.
And yet the week before, let's say at Rotherham, we netted 4 at home. My missus went to the loo and missed 2.
Yeah, I thought with the two up front, Djukovic and Clayton, with the two lads wide, the first half especially against Rotherham, it felt watching every time we put a ball in the box we looked dangerous. Obviously Gary tweaked the system a little bit, Burton away, but he finished up with Donaldson, Djukovic, Adams. We had a very attacking team on towards the end, but we just couldn't get a foothold in the game really.
I think they'd grown in confidence throughout the course of the game, and we just kind of lost all spirit of it, I think, and we just couldn't get back in. I
think we looked a little bit shaky even the Rotherham match. As I say, I think it was interesting what Gary said afterwards, but I thought we were quite fortunate to get that penalty because they brought it back to 3-2, and I think there was definitely a nervousness around the ground. And I think the goalkeeper was kicking himself for giving that penalty away because it was needed. Yeah. Well, Che Adams, I thought, did brilliantly chasing a lost cause, but there was just no need to give a penalty. To concede a penalty, and of course that sealed the game for us, didn't it? Really?
I have to agree 100% with Mike there. I thought at 3-2 that they were in the ascendancy, and we did look a little bit wobbly. I mean, it was a soft penalty to give away as well. He'd be fuming if he lost his job after that game, their manager. So, but we got the win, which was the be all and end all, really.
Absolutely, 3 points are 3 points, and I'll take a scruffy 3 points any day of the week.
Definitely,
any day,
especially Sunday.
Yeah, I think the other thing is we're not drawing so many games this season either. And sometimes it's better to win and lose than to draw. Well, just the maths, isn't it? Really.
But having said that, a win and a lose is 3 and 2, isn't it? Yeah, 3 and 2.
Because we had a run, didn't we, a season or two ago? We were drawing loads of games, and that's why we didn't really move up the table at all. It's.
I think like you say, especially the likes of Rotherham. There was the early stage of last season where we lost our own to Rotherham, then we drew 0-0 with Blackburn and Forest, I think, as well, come to us, and they weren't playing well and got something against us. And I think it's something that Rowett has definitely targeted in those home games. And he certainly does look to be more forthright and more attacking, taking the game to teams, especially at home. And I don't know whether that's just had an impact on the defensive structure of the team as a whole. So when you do go away from home, like we did against Nottingham Forest and like we did on Friday night against Burton, that there has to be that balance, and it's all right going attacking and trying to take the game to teams. Like I agree with Dev, in the first 15 minutes against Burton, I couldn't see us not getting anything out of the game. But then there's that balance that we're not Real Madrid. This is a big frustration of mine at the moment with Blues fans, that we seem to think that we've got a God-given right to go to Burton and win. And it's all right going after teams, but I'd much rather have seen us from about 15 minutes to half an hour, and then they scored the opening goal. At that point, you think, okay, just solidify, keep possession a little bit. And we never seem to get into the game, and the way we let Burton into it. And they're a good team. They've beat Sheffield Wednesday and Derby at home this season. They are, they have every right to be in this division as anybody. If you think about it, they've had so many promotions over the last 5 years. They've always been up and at the top of every division for a long time now. That is a club that is used to winning, and that is a club that is used to being strong at home. And they've done it against Derby, fell for it, and Sheffield Wednesday fell for it. And I think after the first 15 minutes we fell for it as well.
I think another thing is, would it be right to say that quite a few players in the side used to play for Gary?
Yes, absolutely.
And it sounds daft. That's always something you like to show your ex-boss, don't you?
Of course, well, Dyer played for us as well.
And of course Dyer.
He wanted to prove a point as well, and Aikins on the right as well wanted to prove
Jamie Ward's a Bromley as well.
Dare I say.
So
no excuses, but you got to say they did play well.
I'm not
knocking them, although we're very disappointed with our performance.
No, absolutely. I'm not turning around and saying we didn't not play well. We were poor, definitely. There's no excuse for that. But we don't have a right to go. And if there are a few players that aren't playing 100% on a specific day in any game in this league, then we're going to be found out.
I think the thing about it is with the Championship as well, it is, in my opinion, the most competitive league in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Anybody can beat anybody. At the start of each season, you could realistically pick 12 teams that could be in the shake-up, and you'll still get that wrong because there'll still be one that comes out. I mean, Huddersfield are up there at the moment, but it's a really difficult league. Anyone can beat anyone, and Burton will win a lot of home games. The way they play, they'll win a lot. They'll win a lot at home.
It's a tight, compact ground, and like I say, it's somewhere they've used to winning at home. That under Rowett they were chasing promotion from got promoted from the conference, and then were chasing promotion from League Two. They did it under Hasselbank, and then they did it last year under Clough, from League One obviously to the Championship. So
they're in that habit, aren't they?
They have got that winning habit, especially at home. No one's going to want to go to Burton and play them. It's going to be a tough place to go for a lot of teams.
Just going back to what Paul said about the Championship, I think it's so true as opposed to the Premier League, because if you look the example I quote to everyone, you have Newcastle go to QPR and win 6-0.
Yeah.
Wolves lose 4-0 at home to Barnsley.
Yeah.
They then go to St James's Park and win 2-0.
It's unbelievable.
What odds would you have got on that?
Huddersfield's run at the start of the season was incredible, and I think they've lost 4 of the last 8, have they?
Yes.
They
got a last minute winner.
That was a last minute one. Yeah. They lost 3-1 at Preston. People were moaning about us only drawing at home to Preston, and then they go and they've beat Villa at home and beat Huddersfield at home and won away at Norwich.
The thing about it is as well, I think if you'd have said to anyone before a ball's kicked at the start of the season that this many weeks in, going into the Burton game, we'd be sitting 5th. I think everyone would have snapped your hand off for that.
And if you'd have said, as we go into the derby, we're above them. I think nobody would have not taken that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, so summarising then, not the greatest of performances, but one that we need to bounce back from. I think that sums it up.
And that's something under Rowett's tenure that has been absolutely quite a habit, that when we have played poorly, the game after has tended to be a definite improvement, and we've got results.
Would you go, because I know it's bad on Friday, but we were actually away from home, but for me the low point of the season was the second half against Wolves.
Yes, absolutely.
Because playing against St Andrews and they just ripped us to pieces, didn't
but
they?
Then up until the Forest game, that was the only game we'd lost this season.
But then I say the next game we had Norwich, and I was a bit fearful of, because we looked at the Norwich side and we started well, and we played so well, didn't we? And could have won by more, really.
So he has got a reaction out of the players after bad performances and defeats. So.
Yes, he certainly has, but he also got a reaction on social networks, which is the next thing I want to come to now. Sitting down sort of Saturday night, Sunday morning and divulging and digesting some of the things that people have written, and some of the disparaging comments and foul language that they use. These are predominantly on Facebook. So the Facebook page is created for the use of Birmingham City fans. If you haven't got nothing good to say in a proper manner, don't bother saying it. It's so easy. If you want to be constructive in your criticism, or like we've just been here, with a poor performance X, Y, Z, do that by all means. But to start slandering people and using some of the foul language that I've seen over the last few days, it's not the way that we do it. We're Birmingham City. We don't do it like that, and we shouldn't do it like that. We shouldn't. You shouldn't talk to anybody like that. Nobody's got the right to to write some of the things that I've seen over the last few days, and discuss it for goodness sake. Yes, pretend you're in the pub having a beer with whoever, and just talk talk it out. Yes, we were chronic, we were awful. We'll get over it. Doesn't anybody have a bad day at the office? That was all I wrote.
And the thing about it is, nobody goes into a game wanting to play bad. It just happens, doesn't it? You know, I think if you ask every one of the players, and they'll all be devastated about Friday. Loads down the years. But I mean, what you do have to do is what Gary's very good at, is you have to pick yourself up and go again, and you have to get the team to go again.
And what a motivator to pick yourself up for.
What, is there a game this week?
Yeah.
Is there?
Little game.
I can't think that. Has we got a game Saturday, have we? Got no game Saturday. Right, okay, so let's talk about this. Is the big one. This is the one that we waited for a long time. They've been teetering around the edge for many years and finally succumbed to the drop. They're now down at what we probably know is our level. Yeah, we are a championship football team. That's it. You know, and that's where we are. But now the mighty have fallen, and now they must make that little journey at 38. And now Sunday, 25,600. It's your turn. Over to you. Each and every single one of them. Have you got plenty of extra chips on?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Don't really know. Chris is in with the catering team.
Oh, yes.
He's the one to blame.
Almost certainly.
Right, so we've waited for this one then since the 1-1 draw, but predominantly I discount that, and then I'll go back to the time when we knocked him out of the Carling Cup final. A month before that, yeah. Apart from the last look we showed, one of my greatest moments, that one, the West Ham one, the Ipswich one, you know, and then of course the finals. Yeah. Let's make it like that again, but without the stupidity.
Absolutely.
And you know, you've got to keep to it, keep in it. Obviously, you need to get up and down when you need to get up and down. But what I'm saying is, do not encroach on the pitch. The world will be watching. We're live on Sky. It's prime time, Sunday dinner time, and don't mess it up. This is our club, our new owners, and just be sensible there, please. Be sensible. Is that a wise call? It's a wise man.
Absolutely.
Did you see that link there? Do I get another star next year?
That's the first time he's been said that. Can we have a quick catch up? Yeah.
Of course you can.
Determination, 100% passion, chasing everything, closing down, says Dennis. On Sunday we've got to be brave and have the will, not just the skill. No regrets. Shouldn't need any motivation at all. Just sheer pride should make you win. Keep right on. Good points, well made. Nick says Dean. There you go.
Somebody agrees with me with once.
Yeah.
Normally the Chris Pugh Appreciation Society that...
Normally.
They've all been banned.
Have you any more members this week? He's got his own Facebook.
No.
Chris Pugh Appreciation Society's got his own Facebook page.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well.
Yeah. He's got all the teeny boppers out there screaming when he leaves or gets in his car.
Good boy, yeah.
All three of them.
Anything else, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I have it. Okay, must play TK in goal on Sunday, says Matt.
Yeah, let's talk about that then for a minute. The goalkeeper. Legsins has made a few errors. Probably a nice guy and all this, that and the other, but you've got to keep goal, and Sunday is a crucial one. Because I don't know, is it going to be a blood and thunder one with lots of red cards, or do you think it's going to be a sedate 0-0?
I don't think it'll be sedate. Well, it shouldn't be sedate. It's a Blues Villa game, so that'd be the last thing I'd expect.
There's no way this is going to be sedate.
No.
Not in a million years.
I mean, with regards to goalkeeping situation, he probably didn't do a lot wrong on Friday night.
It's perspective, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
What people think, and Cottrell had a look round, and the guy was a few yards from him, blah blah blah, and before you know it, it's tucked in the.
I mean, Kuchak has played in massive games. There's no two ways about that, and it will be probably as big a game that a lot of players have played in. A lot of players won't have played in a derby game like this. A lot of them won't have experienced the atmosphere, so it will be
the atmosphere is unique.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's very special. The atmosphere is special. Like from I'm going to get into Birmingham. I come from Newtoxin, so I'm going to get into Birmingham around about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Obviously to get parked and get a burger. I think my son's driving. I might be on the floor by about 3. I'm a happy floor man though. You know what I mean? Don't cause anybody bother. I just crash out and be done with it. That's it. But are you worried at all?
No. There's no point in being worried. It's yes, it's a derby and yes, it's massive. We all want to win it, but I think it's still a no pressure game for us. It's still a no pressure game for us because we wrote it down on paper that the respective, arguably the respective best teams from both teams. I genuinely don't think I can put, as a Blues fan, I don't think I can put a Blues player in that team,
right.
in a collective Blues and Villa team. So there is absolutely no pressure on us whatsoever. They should walk the floor with us. They should walk the floor with most teams in this division. If they get, Bruce, this is what worried me about Bruce coming in. He seems to have worked it out quite quickly. They need 3 in midfield. Bakuna got a lot of stick last year from fans. And within Villa as well, but he's come back in and Bruce has given him a new lease of life in central midfield, and he's just solidified it a little bit. Jedinak hasn't got the legs in the middle to play 2, so he's immediately come in and realised that you've got to play 3, and that's what him managing in this championship for quite a long time. He's realised that.
Is it going to be a different style of game though, do you think, on Sunday?
I think it's going to be. I think it's just going to be a midfield war.
Yeah.
I think Rowett can do it against Rotherham. If he wants to do it against Rotherham, fine. Don't go all out against them. Just play your normal game. And I think the way he did with Davis in the 3 against Burton. Yes, we didn't play well, but I'd say those players again go out and.
So you'd play one up front against Villa?
I would, yeah.
Really?
See, I would
not go to.
No, I think
5.
I think, like you say, if you probably look at the Villa squad, they've got you'd say better players than us. I think if you sit off them and let them have the ball, that's going to be worse. I think we've got a blood and thunder in the face, 100 mile an hour, get balls in the box, cause a bit of havoc in there. You just alluded to Bruce there. I mean, I had 3 separate occasions with Bruce as a player, as a manager at Sheffield, and then he brought me back to Blues. One thing he'll get them doing is building from a solid base.
Yeah.
He'll get the back 4 in the midfield. And they've got a big squad, haven't they? They've got a decent squad at this level, and it hasn't surprised me. The worrying thing from my point of view, not so much this week because we've had a couple of poor results. It would have been the first time leading into a Blues Villa game as a supporter or as a player in my lifetime where we'd have been favourites for the game. Now that it might have changed a little bit this week because Forest have beat us and Burton have beat us, and they've had 2 wins. So I think it's taken a little, like you say, a little bit of pressure off us.
How much part did the fans play, Paul, when you were in a big one like that?
Oh well, I mean, I only played in 2, and I was lucky enough we won them both. But the night at St Andrews, the Enckelman night, it was probably
the best night at St Andrews I've
probably the best club game atmosphere that I ever. It felt like the whole place was bouncing.
It was.
I do a lot of question and answer things with Jeff Horsfield and Michael Johnson, and we always get asked about that game. And we had them beat in the tunnel that night. I tell you, we had them beat. They were terrified in the tunnel. We were like lunatics, and we had a good team then, but we had some lads that could put it about a bit as well. Granger and Jeff Horsfield and people like that.
Robbie.
We had some strong characters, and we beat them comfortable home and away really that season.
Their Premier League record against us wasn't very good at all, was it? But,
not in the first couple of years.
We're at a different level now, and that has to be accepted. We certainly haven't got the players like that we had either back then, but we've got a squad of players now, and I don't know whether it's a worry or it's a blessing that they haven't had the baptism with holy fire at one of these games.
Do you know what though? Quite a few of our players that will be played last season. I know it was at their place, and they were a Premier League side, and it's a different game in a cup. You've got nothing to lose, etc. But the fact that they've played in that atmosphere, and that those players that played for us saw, what was it, 2,800 Blues fans in that corner, pretty much out-sing that Villa crowd for the majority of the game. We were the ones that stayed behind and were applauding after the final whistle. So our players have played in that game. Quite a few of theirs won't have. The front line won't have played in it. Obviously Grealish is suspended, so he won't be playing. I wonder whether that will give us just a touch more advantage. Rowett can say to him, especially that like I say, I do think it'll be a midfield battle, and Keefton Bell, Davis, Gleeson all played that day last season, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them all play again on Sunday. And if it was the case, then I think that might just give us a touch more advantage.
I still think there's a difference between playing a local derby there than playing one at your own. I mean, St Andrews is going to be. I know that supporters are up for it. And it's going to be rocking.
It'll be phenomenal.
And have you ever, Mike? Have you ever sat in the Tilton Road and experienced a game?
I am actually.
Have
you? Going back ages ago. Yes. No. It's stood actually on the old cop when I was very young.
Right. Whereabouts did you stand?
Well, it was the Spine Copper it used to be. It was a big terracing stand, and I'm going to date myself now. I remember us beating Portsmouth 3-1 in the cup tie, and Bob Hatton scoring at that time, and that was amazing.
So which bit of it did you stand in? Because I always used to be right at the back with my arrows.
Well, it'd be about mid-centre, I think.
Mid-centre,
Had a great view.
You probably caught my son a few times. He was 3 years old, sat on my shoulder giving it
No, it isn't. People tell me. I think I've got a few friends who sit like the corner of the Tilton, and they say the atmosphere is tremendous.
It can be. It can be one of at the moment. It can be one of either way. It can be absolutely just like shopping in Asda sometimes, or it can be absolutely rocking. But when it is rocking, there's not a place in this earth that I like to be more than in them stands, but being part of it. I absolutely love it. Go for it.
Yeah. Facebook comments. Think experience over youth, despite Legends being okay. Obviously on the Kushak debate. I think Donaldson and the Duke can pull them apart. Just need to be strong throughout the middle of the park. Sunday is the game of two teams who have not been playing well but scraping a few results. Got a feeling going to be a draw. Over the years, what do Mike and Dev think of the Blues Villa games have been over the years?
Oh, somebody else says paul-devlin, the voice of sense.
Oh, obviously doesn't know me very well. That won't be my missus ringing up.
How much you paid her tonight?
That won't be her again too.
Tony Lonsdale says, hello Mr. Wiseman, I see you are not wearing a tie.
Oh dear.
This is
She always used to check on me to make sure I hadn't spilt anything on it, that's why. No. Thank you, Tony.
Interesting one from Stuart Cross. Could we not play three at the back? Would this be an effective tactic, 3-5-2? I
don't think that the two lads that currently play fullback. I don't think they've got the legs.
No.
They ain't got the legs.
Especially going into a game like that with a formation we haven't played before.
Yeah.
That's very risky.
Grounds isn't playing.
No, so it will be Wiggins.
We'd have thought Wiggins shot and
I can't see him playing Robinson. The fact that we got destroyed by two pacey wingers against Burton, I can't see him going with an even slower left back than Grounds.
We have a problem in that area though, don't we, at the minute?
We haven't got pace at full back.
Yeah.
So I'd be amazed if it wasn't Wiggins at left back.
We can debate it all we like. It's the gaffer's call, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, Devlin, Negotiation Society in as well.
Space for Devlin in the squad Sunday?
I'm fit and available. I'm available.
Super Paul-Devlin.
Yeah.
What's your fitness levels like now compared to back then?
Well,
are you still pretty good?
Yeah, if you compare me to another 44-year-old, I'm quite fit. But if you compare me to a 24-year-old, probably not so.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, I think if you ask every ex-player, I mean, Jeff Horsfield's down doing the lounges with me on Saturday, Martin O'Connor, and if you ask the three of us,
Martin on last week.
We'd rather be out there on the pitch.
Yeah.
You can't beat Father Time, unfortunately, but it's brilliant to get there.
You can't, and it's a question that's loomed up actually in my life now. I've been DJing in night and I'm coming to the end of that, should we say? I'm coming to the end of that at 54 and a half years old. I'm 55 now, and I'm quite worried about the end. You know what I mean? Like that process. Whereas when you're a footballer, it's somebody else's decision. Like the manager will take you out and say, "Sorry, that's it. You're over. You're done." Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, it was actually a bit different for me, and I was.
Generally.
I warned Kevin Broadhurst up about this because he was my last manager as a professional at Walsall, and I was coming to the end of my career, and I'd had an operation. I was 34, and I knew my legs had gone, and I wasn't enjoying it, so I jacked in. And I always tell Kevin he was the manager that finished my career. But Kev was great. You never ever replace playing.
We had Broads in, have we?
Yes,
we have. Yeah.
I think that the big thing, even now, I mean, I miss it, still keep myself fit and train, and I didn't miss the travelling and being in hotels. But I think every ex-player, you're always looking for something to replace that high, scoring a goal in front of the Tilton, running out in a derby game, and you never do. I still grapple with that.
But those memories are still
every day. The memories are still there, but you still grapple with that. How can you get that high of running out in that, in that shirt and scoring a goal, and you never can replace it.
Just going back, there was interesting something said about past Villa Blues games. Going back. Well, I don't know. You confessed your age.
I remember them in the 70s.
I'm 61, so I have to. But I can't go back. But each team used to have distinctive runs. You'd have about 4 results one way, then about 4 results the next way. It's quite amazing the way it went, really. And even back in the Premier League, we had that great start, and then of course they showed it at the end. And of course the epic game we were talking about when the ground was shaking, because our record before then had been been fairly dire because, of course, there'd been a big difference in, they'd maintained the Premier League status where we'd been in the lower divisions, and when we had met, it hadn't really...
I don't think we'd played them up until the Enckelman game, up until 16 years in the league.
Yeah, in the league. Yeah, we'd had a few cup ties, haven't we?
That friendly, wasn't there, when the Railway opened, but in the league,
I remember playing in John Fry's testimonial, and he had the Villa down.
Oh my God, that was a disaster.
I think there's about 6 sendings off.
Yes, no. Brian Little played.
Yeah, Brian Little had an Evans place.
Who was that against? Sorry, no, right. There was that one, and then we played Jamaica.
That was Benno's. That was Ian Bennett's. I wasn't there for that one. I'd gone on holiday.
Barry sorted this. Well, they parted company with Barry fairly soon after that.
That's right. Yeah.
Didn't we play them in the Simod Cup or Simod Cup?
We had 2 cracking games. If you remember, just after David Sullivan took over, we played them in the League Cup as it was, and I think we lost 1-0 in both games. Didn't we? We gave them a good game actually. I think we missed a penalty as well, didn't we?
My first one was I think early 70s, and all I remember is the whole of the Tilton just being full of claret and blue balloons, and the rest of St Andrews, the old cop as it was, white balloons, and when the teams come out, I've just never seen anything like it. So many balloons in all my life. It's incredible, great atmosphere.
Have you seen it? It's been on Facebook. You see the footage of when we beat them 3-2 when Trevor scored a lovely little header at the end.
Yes, cracker.
Win it. And if you notice there, the fans are quite mixed up actually, because you've got like.
I haven't noticed. I will have a look.
Quite interesting. If you look at it, there's you'll see there's people. There's goals going both ends. People are celebrating, and that shows really that perhaps it wasn't one of those days were a bit more civilised, really, which is what you want, really, isn't it?
Do you know when you think about what the Blues Collective have organised this bucket, walking around with the buckets to collect money for this little Villa fan that sadly passed away. I mean, to lose a 7-year-old child, man, you can't imagine it.
Oh, it's terrible.
You can't even think about that. And for Blues fans to organise that for one of their supporters, and there's going to be, as far as I'm aware, a minute's applause at 7 for the little lad.
Brilliant.
Organised by Blues fans, and then I believe there's going to be another round of applause, something like 50 minutes from the gentleman that's just recently passed away. But another thing that's trying to get off the ground is on 21 minutes singing You'll Never Walk Alone, Blues and Villa, as part of the Justice for the 21 campaign.
It's a contentious issue.
It is contentious, and there's been lots of positives and lots of negatives for it. 1974 it was. I was 13 years old, and I remember being at school and your teachers telling you, if you see a bag or a case or anything like this. And I lived in Warwick, so it wasn't anywhere, like 18, 20 miles away from where the event happened. But it still used to frighten the life out of you as a kid. You know what I mean? You'd see all these images and that on the TV, and then all this time has gone past since that. It's kind of all still outstanding, and it really should be down to somebody to put the foot on it and say we're gonna wrap this up and sort it out, and have a definitive answer to it. I don't like bringing politics into sport, but I do believe that if we can come together with a bucket before the game for that poor little lad, and they can come together on 7 minutes, they can surely come together on 21, they can come together on 50, and they can come together at the end. Win, lose or draw. No stupidity.
Absolutely right.
Can we catch up with a few
Yes,
questions?
please.
Kevin Smith has commented, Dev, good to see you. Remember turning up at St Mary and St John's on the Sunday after the win against the Scum. Summer celebrations that was, and I used to have a dig at you about being on the subs bench at 16.
Yeah. St Mary's and John's. I played for them. I can't remember much about the couple of days after the Villa game because me and Horse celebrated a bit. But that was in Erdington, one of my local haunts. That was.
So did you know that John Brennan was poorly?
Jim, Joe. Sorry, Joe. I spoke to his. Old Joe was one of them blokes. He started this Sunday team and he did everything himself up until his 80s, and unfortunately he's got Alzheimer's now and he's in a home. But the type of person at grassroots level that should be applauded.
Yeah. Unsung heroes. Someone watching in Queensland, Australia.
Nice one. Welcome to you.
I really like the 3-5-2 idea. We have the players, but not to be experimented on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the difficulty, isn't it? I see that point. Yeah, very good.
What reception will Bruce get? I know it's been 10 years, but still hurts the former manager. Surely there's the perfect man to answer it, a man who played under him.
Yeah, but we've had some managers that have come back that have crossed over. Yeah. The last one was McLeish, and he was straight over. He was haunted for 90 minutes. That man was was taken to shreds, and I don't think he could cope with that, because it was a barrage, a 90-minute barrage. It's a little bit different. 10 years have passed, but now there were a few songs sung at Burton. I think it was just a bit of fun.
Could I just go? Because we can understand the fans probably want to have a little pop on Sunday, but I think we've got to think about the circumstances in which Steve left, and it was a really complicated era, because if you remember, this was when we thought Carson Young was going to take over. It never actually happened, and I was a director there now, and we wanted to give Steve a new contract, to time down, and we sent, but because they're about to take over, we were told legally we've got to send this to Hong Kong to get approval. And the message that came back from Hong Kong, they said, well, would you mind, we'd rather wait till we're in control before we finalise this. And of course the press got hold of this, and it blew it up out of all proportion, and said, dead man walking, which probably wasn't the case. I don't know what their intentions were, but because they stuck with McLeish when they eventually did come in, and of course in the meantime then David Whelan came along, and he approached David Sullivan and said, look, they're having a dire season. He said, I believe your manager might be unsettled. And I think we ended up getting about £3 million compensation for Steve. And to be fair, David accepted the offer. So can you understand from Steve's point of view? In a place of work, when somebody does that, you go, don't you? And so in a way, it wasn't as if Alex did resign from the club, didn't he? And then suddenly popped up as a manager. So that I can understand. But this one, he was actually almost made to look as if, well, we won't. Yeah, well, I've got a lot of respect for Steve, but it was a very awkward situation he was in, and at the end of the day, he says he's an out-of-work manager, and it's a shame, because I saw him in my local pub, the Punch Bowl, and I just said, I just wish he'd got
everybody where he drinks.
Not on Sunday.
Plenty of other good pubs around Birmingham.
I just
take that back, but take that back.
We're not live, are we?
Oh, would you? Oh, thank God for that.
I just remember being at Watford when he left, and I've just felt sad, because my probably my happiest period as a player was those couple of seasons where he brought me back the second time. I had great times in him as a player, great times in him as a manager. Really loved probably him and Neil Warnock, my two favourites.
Cracking sense of humour, really.
Brilliant bloke, a proper bloke. Yeah. He will definitely do well for the Villa, as much as it grieves me to say. I've got no doubt about that.
That's what we all fear.
Yeah, and hopefully not from Sunday. But it was. I remember when he left the Blues. Just feeling of sadness, really, because 4 out of the 6 years he was there, we'd had in the Premiership, which we hadn't had for ages and ages, and it all went a bit sour. Obviously, Mike's just shed a bit of light on the reasons why there. I do think he'll get a hostile reception.
It's got to happen.
I'm not naive enough to think that, but I think we've still give him the and he'll take it. You know what I mean? He's played in some massive games. He's managing massive games. He'll be expecting that. But I still think it's important not to forget the role that he's played in our history. He's played a big role in recent history.
Yeah. And getting us promoted, that was massive, because we were in trials for so long, hadn't we? And he just came and did it straight away, didn't he? I think the other thing he did. I don't know if any of you went. Did anybody go to the game at Palace when he went back there for the first time?
Yeah, he got dogs.
And he handled that really well. But that
I think he handled it. Look, it was friendly banter at Burton on Friday. It wasn't abuse. It was friendly banter, and he handled it very well. He says, "Well, I ain't got a potato head anymore. I've been on a diet."
It does look well. He's lost a few pounds. I tell you.
What's with the Jedwood hair though?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, I can't moan about haircuts, can I?
Well, you can. I mean, yours is very styled. It's very even.
Very shaved.
To be honest with you.
I'll go blonde next week.
Oh God, no! Please no, Chris. Dev, Carl Evans says, "Can you stop nicking his Facebook posts?"
Stop what?
Nicking his Facebook posts.
Oh right, okay.
And a question for both of you: it's just yes or no. Do you think Dee Bishop should go to the Halloween party?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to agree.
Yes. So Dee, there you go. You've got to go to the Halloween party.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I know I am. I'm in so much trouble now.
We've got a few comments to get through again as well. So, do you want us to just go through a few comments?
Yes, absolutely.
Dev, you're a legend. Can do with you back in the squad, or someone with the same ability, desire, and passion. Do you think Fabrini has the potential to play to become a great centre forward, play him as some sort of Chucho role? Bruce was out of work, probably doesn't need to work, and could have worked anywhere, so why go there? Is a comment. A little bit bitter. Don't expect too much loyalty. Is a Geordie who managed Sunderland. That's an interesting
That's true.
point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I worry. I think a massive threat against the Villa will be their aerial threat as well. Is another point.
They're coming in on drones.
Yeah. Also, one Mike and Dev's thoughts on the similarities between the Kumars and the Young Reigns.
That was my next question.
You can shed any light on those, legally or not?
I think obviously Mike's in a far better position to answer that than me, but there were both pretty dire in my opinion. But obviously, Michael will know a lot more about that than me.
Yeah, no, to go to the Kumars, I actually felt a bit sorry for them really, because they never portrayed to have anything like the wealth that the Young dynasty had. But they did try hard, and we did have some good moments for them. But because they got taken by the BCCI, their business, which is the Bank of Commerce and Credit International, and because they had a dreadful situation at as I say, the bank went bust, so they called in their borrowings from the business, but they'd actually, I believe, had personal cash deposited with them, which they lost. So overnight they found themselves,
the Mark 1 regime.
That's it, yeah. And they overnight they found a massive chunk of their wealth was just wiped out, and they did literally just disappear off the scene, which you can understand, because I should imagine they couldn't afford to pay the mortgage on the houses or anything like that. And I think for them,
the bits we never get to the
well, it is, and it's a very, very difficult time. My father was very heavily involved, and we managed to keep it going until we just existed really, and then David Sullivan obviously came along and things were different. Whereas I think the Young dynasty, I think we were conned a little bit, because I got the impression there was a lot more money there than there was really, and it was. My only worry was that we obviously bought Nicola, who was a very big contract, but we made some pretty hefty offers for some other big players, and which I suppose fortunately got turned down really. They didn't come, but if we had have signed these players, we could have ended up in another Portsmouth situation really, which because I could never make head nor tail of that when I went down to Portsmouth. They've kind of wages they were paying, but credit to the backroom team at Blues, did a magnificent job. Who've kept us afloat really, and we have actually paid all our bills. We've done the right thing, which we're all decent people, and
sitting pretty, as so to speak, in a new era.
It is, yes, and they've been. I know very, very little about the new owners, but I won't say that, but they've been excellent during this period, because they've made sure the club has been properly financed and by sending money over, and I can't think of many people who do that without having full control, which they haven't, but they've shown a massive amount of trust, and I think Panos has got to take real plaudits for this, because it's been such a complicated job to do, to sort, because they actually have got the Hong Kong company relisted again, which was I'm actually a chartered accountant originally. I can't understand it all. It's so complicated over there, but they've done it, which is a real financial masterstroke.
I think
really.
if you look, we've had a really uncertain few years, but if you look where we are now, and then you look at Mike just mentioned Portsmouth, you look at Coventry, you look at Charlton, Leeds, and people like that. We ain't done too bad, I don't think.
Could have been a lot worse.
No,
Could have been a lot worse.
We've maintained that championship stuff, and you're always attractive to a buyer, because if you're in the championship, you're only one step away from the promised land.
And the championship's getting bigger and bigger every year as well, isn't it? So
it is.
You can see what's going to happen with the European breakaway and this, that, and the other. I don't know how football. I don't know it's going to pan out yet. To be honest with you.
My only worry about the championship.
Well, Villa are going to be the biggest club in Europe in 5 years, aren't they? So that's how it'll pan out.
But
the thing is, we had that promise as well, Jim. When they came, there's been so much similarity really.
The guys that are there now have said it's going to be a long, slow process. Don't expect this. Don't expect. And I think that to have that honesty as a football supporter, and to know, like we've just gone through every single Tilton Talk show that we've ever done in 5 years, apart from one, has been under duress, so to speak. Every single one, apart from last week, right? And we couldn't get euphoric about it. I don't know why. It was just like, okay, it's happened. But to have an understanding as a football fan that you've not got this pot of gold, it's not going to be promised. It doesn't seem to be any false promises. It's stability. It's stability over the next 2 years, and then see where we go from there.
But I just think with the money now in the Premiership, the relegated teams are going to get that much money. What I think is going to happen, you're going to get a group of 4 or 5 teams that will just go up there. They'll have far too much money for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premiership, and I think it's going to cut it adrift even more.
Boring.
That's the worry. Obviously, this season, Newcastle look like they've worked it out quite quickly. Had a few struggles at the start, but they look pretty strong now. But Villa spent 60 million, and it's taken them a long time. What are we now coming into November? Well, it's taken them a long time to work it out.
Hang on. When you say it's taken them a long time to work it out, they've had a very late goal against
Reading,
right?
What to win?
Yeah. And okay, it was a good strike, but that was just that one goal against Fulham.
Yeah.
What did we do?
Oh yeah, they're not. I'm not saying they've worked out and they're now the perfect team, but far from it. But under Bruce, they're gonna grind games out, which is it's what he did Hull last season. If you ever look at Hull last season, a lot of Hull's games they grind results out, whether it's draws away from home, late home winners and things like that.
I think the playoffs in particular they grounded out, didn't they? Really, because
absolutely,
they were gritty games, weren't they?
Yeah, the final was Sheffield Wednesday went into that as the form team. I remember looking at Wembley and there was 30,000 Sheffield Wednesday fans and about 18,000 Hull fans, and Hull went there and did a professional job on them, and
it won the strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what Bruce can achieve. Don't know if you want to go through a few more of these.
Please help yourself, yeah.
Where were we? Steve Bruce has said that he is finally managing a big club. I think he has made a massive mistake days before playing Birmingham. Rowett has shown his quality as a Blues manager. Do you think he will stick with Blues? Which is an interesting one, considering quite a few fans of after defeat seem to be happy to be rid of him.
I find that remarkable.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably, no disrespect, they're probably 15-year-old keyboard warriors, and it's like. But your problem is they put it out there. It's in the public domain once they put it out there, and then it sparks all this like.
I don't think there'd be a shortage of takers if he said he wanted to go.
No way.
Not now, no.
Well, considering Derby keep changing managers every 3 months.
Yeah.
Whenever they change manager, I worry.
Well, I wouldn't want him to go. We've not interviewed him yet.
Yeah, that's true. He's coming in for. Yeah.
I think just chipping in, I think it's a massive decision changing a manager, because if Gary at present, for example, he's got a very good relationship with Christian Speakman, who runs our academy. They actually years ago, I think, apparently shared room on training conferences and things like that, so they know each other really well. Gary goes and looks at all the young players, his coaching staff, and I know somebody who's just joined the academy team, and one of the first people to tap him on the shoulder and wish him all the best was Gary. And it runs through the club really, and it's, as I say to you, when you change your manager, you're changing your playing style, the coaching style. It's a massive upheaval, and it's something that it's a decision that shouldn't be taken lightly. I don't know if you agree, Paul, but
very much.
And I'm a great believer in stability, really.
Yeah, but then
and Gary's a builder as well. Because
I'll also take you back to Lee Clark and what you just said about changing your playing styles. And it's like the other. He left, and then we lost 8. Second from bottom. Gary comes in, and look we go.
I think if you look over sort of the last 15 years, Birmingham more so than most clubs have been quite loyal to the managers. With Trevor, with Steve, with people like that. We haven't really been a club to pull the trigger really quickly. Like, look at Leeds, for example. What have they had? 8 managers in 12, something stupid like that. They tend to get a fair run at Blues, to be honest.
Man United recently.
Yeah. Special one's not too special.
Of course, they've got quite a big one coming up in the midweek, haven't they?
Yeah, another derby.
But we won't talk about that. It's not a real derby.
No.
I don't know what a derby
but
is.
It's all the coaching staff and the physio and everything like that. And your backroom staff, so important.
Have you got some more, Chris?
Oh, they are flooding in, absolutely flying in. Could you see GR taking on the national team? Not quite yet, but
I could.
Certainly got the that young batch of English managers has got the potential. Adrian Harris says bring back the Gary. Interesting one.
What as a player?
I don't know. Yeah. Do you reckon he's still got?
Hey, listen, he's got the same haircut as me now. All that long hair's gone now.
Yeah,
he's same as me now.
Yeah.
In the Telly Savalas club.
Who is? Sorry,
Christoph Duger.
All right.
If Blues did get playoffs end of the year, do you worry about our inconsistencies?
No, I think once you're in the playoffs, that's the lottery, isn't it?
They're picking up.
It's 3 games, and that's it.
It does make me laugh though when people say, "I wouldn't want us to get up this year. I wouldn't want us to." You'd take it, wouldn't you?
I want to get up every year. Yeah, I want to stay up.
You take the playoffs. You take.
I've been saying that
million to go up.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Yeah.
If we could get the crowds in the Championship, I'd have the Championship over the Premier League every week.
I mean, a lot of my mates have said the same in periods gone past when we've been in the Premiership. they've actually stopped going to the games because they felt the games were that negative. You know, we all love what comes with the Premiership, but you know, sometimes it can be a bit sterile.
It's that change of tack from just playing your football to we have to
Shutting up
survive.
shop,
do you know what I mean? Because the financial rewards for survival.
We are so lucky because we've got no individuals at St Andrews at the moment. We've got a team.
Yeah.
That's something quite unique, right? You go up to the Premiership and there's prima donna this and you know. Was it Rooney getting out of a car with the side opening the side? What a slap him round the side of the ear. What an idiot! Get a mini.
Can you stop that, please?
Sorry, Rooney brother over there.
Our captain and all-time goal
Should
scorer.
never be captain of England.
The other thing with the Premier, you know, even if you just go out for one season, that cash injection into the club is just fantastic. And it's things like the training ground, you know, to be able to go and spend money on, you know,
And
like
the academy and stuff
well,
like that.
things like that, you know, because we've got like a heated pitch at West Hills, which was thanks to Premiership money and you know the dome and everything, and it's, you know, it's all part of the infrastructure. Funny, if Gary made a reference to this about money coming in, you know, just saying, well, if he was talking about the potential injection in January, and say, well, actually, yes, some of it applies, but the rest I like to put into facilities and things like that.
Absolutely.
And that, you know, and when you're trying to sign a player as well, when he comes along and he has a look and he goes, oh wow, you know, this is good, you know,
Not like the old car park going to the car.
Well, I remember my first day when I signed under Barry Fry. Let me tell you, West Hills was a lot different then. And myself and Andy Legg rocked up. You remember Andy Legg, the massive guy? We signed on the same day. And he had a kitman called Gordon, Baz. So Colin Tatum and someone from the Mail come down to take a picture of us. We couldn't get any training kit. All we could have, I had odd socks on. All he could find was 2 waterproofs. Now underneath that waterproof, I had a "I've been to Ibiza" t-shirt. Honestly, odd socks, shorts that Kevin Francis wore. Leggy was the same, but we just managed to find 2 blues. So we did actually look the part. But if anybody had seen underneath it, they wouldn't have believed that we was at a professional club. But that was brilliant times as well under Baz.
You got to laugh at that, though, yeah.
Oh, it was great. That was all part and parcel of it. It was brilliant.
Anything else, Mister?
Yeah, well, what are both of your thoughts on the job Panos has done? Obviously, I'm sure just glowing references.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's touched on it. He's you know, can't speak highly enough. I mean, I don't really know the ins and outs of what goes on a day-to-day running and the backroom stuff. Mike knows far more than me, but to me, he's done a great job.
You think he'll stay, Mike?
Well, I hope so. He seems to really enjoy it here because he's very good on social media. You know, he links with fans and very good with corporate sponsors as well. You know, Ian Dutton finds him a tremendous help because Ian's built up a wonderful corporate network at Blues. And
He hasn't come in yet, has he, Chris? Panos hasn't come in yet, has he?
No,
he's a busy man.
Promised.
Oh, has he? Oh, well, no, but no, what he's achieved in Hong Kong, it's a bit like the next Mission Impossible film with Tom Cruise. You know, it's you know, to sort that mess out must have been something else. Really, I don't quite know how he did it really, you know, because that holding company was, you know, in such a mess, and you know, he got Ernst & Young in and got Fan Trillion as well, who seem very good guys indeed, very very bright guys. So
Well, it was a breath of fresh air when they said that, you know, that the receivers were going to come into the holding company. Obviously, we didn't get dock points for that because it's the holding company, not the football company. And then when you heard Ernst & Young were in, you just had to check the spelling to make sure it weren't Y-E-U.
I think it was more. It was a unique thing, and I don't think. Well, you know, we could pay the bills at the time, but I think it was an administrative receivership, from what I gather. Because in other words, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, I think, have virtually given up on BHL, which was a tragedy because you know, a full quote in Hong Kong, I believe, is worth quite a bit of money, and they just got no faith in anybody. I think they'd issued a massive list of requirements. They've got no faith in any of the personnel there to provide these. So this is why Ernst & Young came in, and
but at least it was a decent reputation.
And it was good as well because I believe as well because, you know, over here obviously you hear the word receivership and that thinks, well, things aren't good financially, but a partner from Ernst & Young flew over straight away, I believe, and went to see the league and everything, and he was apparently really impressive and just said, no, look, this is a very special situation, and once they heard that was the pressure was off really. So, and we are where we are now.
It could have been so different. It could have been
yes, I don't think any of us really know, to be honest. It's, I know Daniel's tried to unravel it all, hasn't he? But
personal one for Dev. Best goal you scored?
Well, I remember getting goal of the season in '97, QPR away. I won it that year. I don't know.
It's got to be that Leeds one, hasn't it?
Yeah, you know, there's a couple that I remember in my second game, which was another derby game, actually, a night game against Wolves, full house at St Andrews. We won 2-0 and I scored both the goals. But yeah, the Leeds one was good because I'd missed the first 3 games of the Premiership because I'd got sent off in Scotland. And Brucey put me straight back in for the Leeds game. And what was special about it, it was something that we'd worked on all week. Now, most pros will tell you you. You work on these set pieces,
It
and
never works.
it never works, and it worked the first time. So yeah, that one's up there definitely.
And that, do you remember the strength of that lead side? Because
Yeah,
you just. I remember looking at the team sheet, and some of the players. They've got Viduka, haven't they? Lee Bailey.
Well, I think they'd got to the Champions League semi-final.
I think every player was
It's that year or the year before.
You looked
hadn't
at that
they?
side.
2001, I think. Yeah.
Wow, you
That'd
just
be
went
great,
wow,
so.
didn't you?
Yeah.
And even the bench was amazing, and to have gone and beaten them that day
Yeah,
was
fantastic.
Oh, it was.
I think the game before that we got a point at Everton.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Stern scored.
Yeah, the penalty, and then but that one really signalled, I think, our arrival, if you like.
I think
in the
from
Premier League.
a personal point of view, it was something that to score the first ever Premiership
Yeah.
goal at St Andrews, it's
Yeah,
something that
massive.
can never be taken away. I thought I'd have the quickest ever goal, but Brian Hughes beat me. I scored after 16 seconds. Brian Hughes beat me.
I remember
So
that one,
against Luton. So it's nice that that's something that I can say forever.
I think that's my favourite Dev goal. Would you join me with the Leeds goal?
I would say the Leeds one.
Yeah.
Pure, I mean, I'm 27.
I saw the other ones, but
yeah.
it was just the significance of
That
it.
Damien's second goal was a cracking goal. that
yeah,
day as
the
well.
curler, yeah,
Really
yeah,
good goal.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, what was I there? Where was that? 2002.
2000.
So we're talking 14 years ago. So I was 13, and I'd had a season ticket for like a couple of years. I think a couple of years in the Championship, and then the Premier League. So my first, real introduction into Premier League football, watching it live, was that season, and obviously that goal was crazy. But
History, love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
14 years ago, I'm feeling old.
Empty me bag.
a couple of people have mentioned thoughts on possible new ground, whether you'd be keen on it or any developments on such, or
I'd never really thought of it. I know there was talk when obviously Karen and David Sullivan were about relocating up to the NEC and that.
I think that would have killed it off.
I personally would just like to see our ground, the last little bit that needs developed. I know obviously it's a lot easier said than done, but it's St Andrews. I wouldn't want to go.
you look at the troubles West Ham have had.
Yeah.
And it's all well and good looking in the flash new stadium, but sometimes home is
Home's
home,
home,
isn't
isn't
it?
it?
I walk into St Andrews and I have to prevent myself from crying every time I walk in the football ground. I genuinely mean walk up.
And a lot of times you have to present yourself and cry
I'm
when
always
you go out of it.
I'm always crying when I go out. No matter what. Up to where, because I remember the old cop that my dad used to take me
Yeah.
when we very first game against Newcastle. I always looked down, bless him, he's not here anymore. But that's my ritual, that's what I do every single day.
I think it'd be just lovely to replicate the cop stand with the old main stand
Yes.
to make a
Yeah.
horseshoe.
Yeah, definitely.
And we get it up to about, we've got all the drawings to
And I
it.
think the one thing about
36,000, probably a bit about right, I think.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
For
What I like about the ground as well,
Yeah.
it's a lot of the new grounds now are really far away from
Yes.
the pitch.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You lose something at St Andrews. It's still not miles away. Even the developed part of the ground, you're still quite close, which makes a massive difference.
I mentioned West Ham. That's exactly the same with West Ham. The Berlin was very close, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
It was intimidating,
Yeah,
wasn't it, to
and
go there,
Spurs, Spurs have got the same because Spurs was very close. White Hart Lane's very close to the pitch, and whether they're going to have similar issues as well. But just a quick one for Mike. What is the best thing that you think the Wiseman family have done for Blues?
Oh, that's a good question. I think my granddad did a sterling job. He was involved, but I think probably my dad when he held the fort after the Kumars. And I don't want to really criticise the Kumars because they just had dreadful bad luck. But we had this about 6 month period when we were in a real mess, and they just disappeared. So what was a bit sad was we didn't have couldn't even contact them, so we had to remove them all as directors. We appointed. Well, my dad was obviously on the board. Alan Jones, who was the secretary, Bill Caldwell, who was the chief scout, Terry Cooper, the manager, went on. And we couldn't even sign a cheque. We had to you can imagine the mess that was trying to sort that out with the bank. But we did, and we existed. And even we had a couple of Anglo-Italian games to fulfil, and that was how we got through that was a nightmare.
We're talking about the Battle of Verona.
We were speaking about that last week.
But we managed to do that, and then. The other really lovely story was Paul Pescasolido, because we had what we called the True Blue Club. And we just needed something to uplift, and anyhow, I'm trying to think of the name of Terry Cooper's scout. Come to me in a minute. Anyhow, but he'd got Canadian connections, and he said there's this fantastic player he plays for. I think it was Toronto Blizzards or something like that, you know. And we agreed the deal, and then just as our lot was going, the pound had a bit of a collapse like it's had recently with Brexit and against the Canadian dollar, and we couldn't quite afford him, and then it just pitched back again, and we had just enough money to go and buy him, and then because we unleashed a new signing, which was about £40,000, which the fans had bought, but that just gave us a bit of a lift, really, and of course
incredible times.
He did well, Paul, for us as well.
So what was it like for you growing up as part of the Wiseman family, obviously with your family in control
How long have the
football
Wiseman family been at the association?
Over 50 years.
Long time.
Oh no, more about 100. We could go back.
100.
Oh, we could go back. Yeah, my grandfather. He before in the 1800s. He used to, as a young man, he used to carry the kit in.
Really?
What he did was it was at Mont Street. He apparently he was a very cunning character. He'd wait there, and the players would give him the bag to carry in, so that'd get him free admittance, and then he went. Sorry, I should have all the dates to hand, but I can't remember when he went on board, but. We did a good stint, put it like that. Jack was one of the youngest directors, and now he went on about, I think it was just after I was born, about 56. I went on in 93. I'm trying to think when my granddad went on. It was about 1920s probably.
Really?
So it was, yeah.
Coming up to 100 years.
Oh, it is. We've
a TiltonTalk party.
Oh, absolutely. No.
Yeah, so what was it like for yourself growing up in that era then? Because you wouldn't have been very old, like sort of back in the 70s. You were
well, I was born in 55, so yes.
So knowing like that your family were involved in football back in the 60s.
Well, it's quite exciting, isn't it? Really, and that my luck was obviously keen. Well, followed in the family tradition by being a keen fan, but was. I helped out quite a bit because I'm a chartered accountant by background, and in this iffy period I was telling you about when Jack Elderans did try and help out as much as I could because the books were in a real mess, and we needed to sell the club. You've got to kind of get your financial records in order, and then of course Karen and David came in, and then I seemed to click with them, and then Karen asked me to be a director, which was quite nice, really. So and that was brilliant to actually stake my claim, really. To
sorrows.
It was. So.
A few. Yeah, you mentioned Brian Hughes earlier. Kevin Smith. I think Brian Hughes was ahead of his time. He was awesome, and his footballing brain was ahead of everyone else's. I loved Brian.
Yeah, Brian Hughes was good goal scoring midfielder.
The final again. The Liverpool final in the Worthington Cup. Yeah. Everyone remembers extra time for the non-penalty on Johnson, but I remember Hughes. He had tried to lob Westerveld for about 40 yards as well, and it just clipped to come back off the bar.
He was a good player.
What do you think Rowett will be looking for in the January transfer window with the potential inclusion of a little bit of transfer funds?
I think he'll be looking at a fullback. I think we're pretty covered now up front with Djukovic, Donaldson, Stewart,
Adams. Come on leaps and bounds, isn't he?
Yeah. So I would think a fullback, maybe even two. I don't know. I think fullback area.
We're going to discuss the Cadiz as we're talking about fullbacks.
You can do.
Could you see him coming back in at all, or do you think his time's up?
I don't really know what's going on there. Obviously, he's been at Blues a few years now. I think I believe there's issues with his fitness. So once that's resolved,
he's injured now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got a shoulder injury, hasn't he?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The thing about it is, a lot of people have asked me about Fabrini in the week of undoubted ability, but we don't see what goes on every day in training. Now, there's rhyme and reason for every decision a manager makes.
So you have to the manager to make them decisions, despite what social networks say and or think.
True.
One for you is, what did your dad do for the FA?
He was when he was on the international committee. He was accounts, and he I think he went to about 8 World Cups.
Really?
Yeah. As one of the officials with the England team. Yeah. So it was quite wearing, really. We used to do all the Blues games and most of the England games as well.
Well, I did it.
It was,
back in the 80s and 90s.
Which was great, really fantastic.
I didn't do the foreign ones, just the one with that.
Kept him very busy, really. And he was involved with the county FO as well, grassroots. So I must say, I've tended to just focus on BCFC.
You've kind of, we've adopted the name Mr. Birmingham for you. That was obviously what your dad's name was.
Well, no, and my granddad as well. They're both wonderful ambassadors, really. And they'd be looking down and telling me off if I wasn't kind of doing my stuff. So
Paul O'Hanlon, Devlin, favourite player for Blues to date. a proper blues legend, and we have a lot to thank the Wiseman family for.
Oh, God.
This is still writing. Different guys.
That's Devlin.
What do Mike and Dev think? Who has been the best manager for Blues over your time involved?
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's probably a bit easier for me because I've seen less manual.
Yeah.
I dread to think how many Mike's in down the years.
Few,
I loved Barry because of his enthusiasm, and he gave me a chance to play for my club. So
We loved him and all.
I love Barry. To me, best manager I played for was Brewster.
I'd have to
Yeah.
say Brucey Francis. Barry was just unique. He was like, you used to. If you didn't feel like going to the football, you'd go because you knew that you was going to get some entertainment off him as well. You know what I mean? He was going to have his moment. But,
And I think in that era as well as David Sullivan and Carrick, you needed someone like him to, and he really did get it buzzing, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I know he signed a lot of players, but he also signed a lot of good players, and he sold Dicey, Gary Breen, people like that, when he bought them in for
We'll play the song
100 grand, sold them for £1 million.
Oh, he did.
So he was.
I have written to him, but he won't.
I think even at the time, he sort of had heart trouble at the time, didn't he? I remember.
I'm not surprised.
I remember somebody saying he had heart trouble at the time, but he still ran around up and down the pitch like a headless chicken.
It was great, very happy time.
As a player, it must have been so enthusiastic to see your manager doing that.
Yeah, it was great. And like I say, I mean, the first day I signed, the debut was against Sunderland, and I made the fatal mistake. I played against a player called Andy Melville. Now, I'd always done well for Notts County against Andy Melville, so I made the fatal mistake of mentioning that in the dressing room. So Baz has gone, well, I won't say exactly what he says, I can't say it in here, so along the lines of, well, I'm expecting a good game off you today. We lost 1-0 and Andy Melville scored the goal.
Oh, no.
So it was the first time I was on the end of a Barry Fry tongue lashing, and not the last, but he was great, and he was just that enthusiastic, and Baz was one of them. He could give you a right roasting, but you couldn't fall out with him.
Yeah.
You just couldn't help but like the bloke. Oh, that might be different for some of the lads, but that was my point of view.
Tim Andrews has said, obviously from my perspective as well, the Wisemans have been terrific for the ladies too. Your best memory watching the ladies over the last few years?
I think he's got to be winning the
cup
final down at Ashton Gate, and also so unlucky that game they played against the Notts County ladies when
the last game of the season
where we could have won the league. We just needed to get that goal, didn't we? It was like the Alamo, wasn't it? 2-2 draw for him. That would have been the moment, and the European run as well. That was amazing.
It is tough, I think. The ones you've mentioned, the Arsenal one at St Andrews was
a special night.
Was really big as well. Being at St Andrews in the Champions League as well. Yes, there have been a few, haven't there? Yeah.
Just interested about it. Really got me thinking about the managers. And I find it really difficult because I remember Freddie Goodwin, and we've got to say we had some fantastic games under Freddie Goodwin. I think we finished. Where did we finish in Div 1? I think we had a good finish. We had a good finish there. The other thing is he's Alf Ramsey. Do you remember him in charge? Now the only thing is I wouldn't say anything, but he gave me two wonderful memories. I saw us win at Anfield and I saw us win at Old Trafford under Alf, and that's special moments really because at the time I remember and. Obviously, Brucey, we've gone on to as well, haven't we?
Someone's mentioned Chris Hughton as well.
I would give special mention to Chris Hughton because I did a piece in the Evening Mail recently, and as I say, I was at the training camp in Ireland, and it was an absolute farce. Players were coming and going. It was, so he did a great job, and it's probably not popular, but we've got to say Alex as well because he won us a trophy, didn't he?
Yes.
We mustn't forget that either, Alex. Fortunate about what happened after, but he did give us that elusive.
Still, believe it or not, one of my most favourite moments was the Leyland Daft Cup final.
No.
Well, I mean, I'd grown up dreaming as a kid, because you see cup finals in the FA Cup on TV, the Twin Towers, them white Twin Towers at Wembley. I was one of 9 kids. We were as poor as anything. We couldn't afford them out. So to have Birmingham City in a cup final,
at Wembley,
it might have only been a very small cup, and over 45,000 went down, and that for me was just a very special time. Very special time.
That was we took the Tranmere game. What about John Gale's winning goal? Wow.
I mean, why isn't that played over and over and over and over again?
You don't see it very often, do you?
I watch it regularly on YouTube.
You got 2 in the storage, got the other one, didn't
One of the best things about that though is afterwards the interview with Gailey, and Gail was talking, rambling on. He says, I'm really glad we picked up the 3 points.
Did I I bet no one pulled him up on it though.
Have a look at it.
That was another sad story, really, because Louis Macari, when you think he went off to Stoke and we rescued him, because if you remember,
Did he take us to Wembley in 96?
It was the first game he was manager, and if you remember, he'd had all this problem at West Ham. Was it betting or something like that? He'd been suspended and everything, so his career was on a nosedive. And then of course he went to Stoke, which was a shame. And then of course the game against Baz's game against Carl. I think we took even more down, didn't we, that day against Carlisle?
That was noisy.
Because the stadium was absolutely dear me, that was
Tight his guy.
because we had. I'm right, so I think England had played Argentina a few days before, and we had more at that game than there was at the England Argentina game.
It was a great.
It was a fabulous atmosphere. That was.
Carry on, mate.
What should we go with? From the team you played in, who was better, Stern John or Horsfield?
Two different players. Two different players. Both done really well. Neither of them had any pace, but Stern was a lot more skillful.
They played that the Cruyff turn goal at West Ham. That was amazing.
Stern had loads of ability, and to be fair to Horse was a battering ram. You know, Horse he wouldn't give anything up. You know, the period where Christoph came in, I know Christoph did really well, but
alongside Jeff,
you know, Horse did everything that Christoph didn't do, which was basically run around and tackle, and he just left Christoph to do the rest. So, but both done a brilliant job for us, really good job.
And I'm just going to say that it's going to be one of my favourite all-time goals, Stern's goal at Villa Park. I still feel embarrassed because I'm supposed to behave myself I was a director. I just lost it. I was jumping around, cuddling everyone. But that goal was so special for me because we hate to admit this, but they were by far the better side.
They played us off
and then David, I think it was David Dunn coming on, seemed to change the game. And then we nicked one back, and that goal was just amazing. Because I remember it was Darren Pearce, wasn't it? He knocked it up, didn't he? And
Forsell flicked on.
Forsell, if you remember, he was limping for Sell. He should have gone off because he was only on one leg, and he just managed to get the touch, didn't he? Morrison turned, and then Sorensen could only parry it, and then Stern, it seemed to come off his shin.
It was a shin,
and it nearly
right in the roof.
He missed, but
he had some ability, though, Stern. I tell you,
I've got that goal. I can't think how many times I watched that goal. That's probably my favourite goal of all time.
And quickly, prediction for Sunday.
This is it. I'm not making one.
Well, I said it today, so I'm going to stick by it. 2-0 Blues.
I'll get 2-1 because I think they do seem to get the odd goal now, don't they? Yeah,
I can't do it.
You've got to do it.
Yeah. I think we'll see a totally different side, Paul, to what we saw on Friday night.
2-1 Blues.
2-1.
I think the crowd will be massive as well. I think they'll.
But the belly's gone upside down. All the things we go through as fans. That's something really special for you. Standing up. They've not been down to our patch since we knocked them out of the cup. Their fans are waiting eager to fill up St Andrews. Keep right on the ring around each other.
The Blues. This is it, the big one, the bragging rights and all. To us it's most important to win this game of football. We will be right behind you, making so much noise. We want it, we need it. Come on, our Blue boys, give your all, that's all we ask, and we will do the rest. We'll scare them off because we are loud. We're actually the best. We've suffered hard. The road's been long. Please don't let's lose face. It's over, all that we've been through. New owners are in place. So let's join together. The city's blue, and that will always be. It's Birmingham. Yes, Birmingham. And we're Birmingham City. Not just a name, a way of life. My siblings, Dad, and me. The best thing I've ever passed down to my kids and family. We have one chance to get it right against our nearest dregs and send them packing over the A38 with their tail between their legs.
Brilliant.
I was challenged last Thursday. I was stood in the pub last Thursday, And Paul Fitzhenry from the Blue Lagoon, one of the Facebook pages, wrote to me. My phone dinged, and I kind of like, if I was with some people, so I kind of ignored it for a bit. And then looked, he says, look, we need you to write a poem within 10 minutes.
Within 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah, within 10 minutes. I'm notorious for it. I can just switch off and go, blah, 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 right? And he says, we need you to write a poem. He says, we want to get it pinned up on the dressing room wall. So I said, right, I've just seen the message, give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, I sat and I wrote that in the Black Swan, which you're all very familiar with over there, aren't you, the Black Swan? And sent it across, and it went mental.
Great.
Yeah.
Not bad for 10 minutes.
I can do it. Dev, I could do you one. I could do a poem about you in 10 minutes. I won't do it now, but I will do one. What a cracking evening this has been. We've had some great shows on the Tilton Talk show this year, but I think this one's topped them all.
Good show.
How many do you think we've had on so far?
Well, we just looked through
13,000.
13,000 already. That's before it goes around the world. We've got 24 hours now for it to go around, and there's a lot. Well, I think we go out. It used to be over 28 countries would listen to the podcast and the downloads, and Warrington, of course. Yeah, Warrington's a very special place for us.
Somebody in Warrington,
It was Ollie, weren't it, in Warrington?
No, that's right.
Yeah. And it's gone from strength to strength. 5 years ago we had 4. No, we've hit 13,500 tonight. Just doing this, and that's almost as many as what we have turn up on a Saturday sometimes. Home supporters, if you know. So that's what we do. That's why we do it. And we did it. We did it for a bit of fun to start with, really, didn't we? And then we said, one of the first things I ever said on the Tilton Talk show was, well, okay, look, club's getting sold, 6 weeks, it'll all be over. We'll have new owners in place.
5 years ago.
I did a Dev.
Yeah.
Mike Wiseman, thanks ever so much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure. What a gentleman. What a lovely man. What a lovely man.
Oh,
a friend of the show.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And of course, the one and only, always a pleasure to have you, and paul-devlin.
Thanks, lads.
There you go. You've now both had the clap off the Tilton Talk show. That's all good.
Oh, well, that's good.
I don't know again where these hour and a halves go. It just seems to just fly by week by week. Devs, appreciate your time. Appreciate it, my friend. And Mike also.
I'll tell you what, we could have gone on for about another 2.
I know, yeah.
No, we don't. I'll tell you what, got going.
Let's do it again after the game then.
Definitely.
Well, whenever, no. They might get bored of listening to me, but no.
Nobody will ever get bored listening to a Wiseman if you've got Birmingham City written on your arm.
No, but listening to Deb is brilliant. Because that, I think that's what people love to listen to, stories from the
They
dressing
love all
room.
stories from all aspects, Mike, to be honest with you. Listen,
everybody
guys,
the
thanks
other
ever so much for
side.
listening tonight, 9 o'clock. Don't forget now, it's a big one on Sunday. Let's hope we're all in a very, 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 very good mood come next Monday's Tilton Talk show. And don't forget to put the clocks back an hour next week, unless, of course, you're a Villa fan, back to 1982.
Good night.